Hi Tracy, hi Linda, hello Facebook. Hopefully you can see me. Let me know if you can, if it's working. Excellent. I was just saying I'm sorry, I'm not quite ready. I'm up in my bedroom and I was just finishing getting ready and I thought, you know what, actually, we're all friends here. You won't mind if I just kind of carry on a bit. So I was doing my hair. This is what I did in my hair tutorial, by the way, which you'll find on YouTube or on Instagram. I think I saved it in my stories. It's what I do when I'm in a real rush. I just use my hair straighteners and I just kind of go down in a twisty way like that, just to give it a little bit of shape. Maybe I'll do that a little bit at the front. And as you know, in these lockdown days, I only ever do the front. Except when I get caught out when I have to turn round. Or if we're going to be allowed out soon, which I gather we are. There you go. So I just kind of pull it out a bit so it doesn't look too ringletty. How about this side? I might just do one more little bit this side. So I hope everyone had a really lovely bank holiday weekend. I had a really fun day yesterday, for those of you who were with me. I spent much of my day doing the Garden Day lives, so which I have saved actually on Liz Earle Wellbeing Facebook and Instagram TV. How does that look? Is that okay? It's a bit of something, isn't it? Anyway, I better turn those off, otherwise they'll set fire to other things. I should move those over there. Didn't do my lips, so let me just do that. I am actually posting my first ever makeup tutorial. Wow, that's a bit scary. So I sat here in my bedroom with no makeup on at all, and I just filmed myself putting my daily face on. And lovely Amy, my digital editor, is going to load it onto the website. So thank you, Amy, with also details of everything that I use, because I've got a few favourites. This is actually one of them, which I talk about, which is a Bobbi Brown art stick. And I just will often use that just to kind of rub it over my lips. I like it because it's gives you a little bit of colour, but it's not too much. I think today, you don't want to be wearing lots of lipstick, doesn't really feel right, but just a little bit of something. And then, I haven't got it here, but I would normally put, have I got it over there? No, I think I put it in the bathroom. Just a little bit of lanolin over the top, just to give it a bit of a healthy gloss. Anyway, there we are, ta-da. So, lots to talk about today. Lots of questions that have come in over the weekend, so thank you very much for that. Really lovely to connect with everybody. First of all, I've had a request, so I will do that first of all. This is from David Gordon. It's a birthday request, and we recently had a lovely message at Liz Earle Wellbeing, so thank you very much, David, for that. And you just wanted our help in wishing your wife, Jenny Gordon, a very happy birthday. David says that lockdown has been really difficult with not being able to see their 3 daughters and their grandchildren, but really wants Jenny to have a very special day. Well, that's lovely. So I hope you are watching. And happy birthday from me. So this morning I put on my Instagram, for those of you who follow Liz Earle Me, a picture of me wearing my flower crown, which I made yesterday, which I have to say was super easy. I mean, I was a bit daunted by it at first because I was working with all these top florists who are used to doing all of this. But you basically just get these long twists of ivy, and which you can find in hedgerows, or maybe you've got them in your garden, or you can even buy them online actually if you want to, or you can get fake ones which work really well, and you just twist it round into a circle, measure your head. I think they're still in my stories actually. If you didn't see it, you can head to my Instagram stories, and I did a few step-by-step pictures which my son took during the broadcast. And then once you've twisted that together, it kind of holds itself together, because ivy is quite flexible and quite tough. As you know, if ever you tried to chop it down and get rid of it, it's really quite a hard, robust thing. And then you poke little flowers into it. And I was showed a really good florist tip of using a paper tape that you can tape around the ends of the stems of flowers so they last longer. So really great. Anyway, I was very happy to wear my crown. So I went out and I bought my milk. Now, those of you who were with me a week or so ago will know that I posted about going to my local village dairy and getting milk from a vending machine. And this is something that I think is just genius, because the milk is really fresh. It hasn't got to be transported in great milk tankers on the roads, which is all the fossil fuels and all of that, which has an impact. Plus, the farmer deals with you direct. You put basically £1 in the slot and you get a litre of milk. So the farmer gets all the money, which is great, because usually the majority of the money is earned by the milk processors, the middlemen. And of course, you're taking away all the plastic. So this actually is my milk bottle. So and it's really clever. You can even buy these from the vending machine. So you buy your own and then you keep them, and then you've got their tops that you have, obviously, and then you wash them out at home. And then you take these back and just refill them. So I went earlier, I got my milk, and I did promise that I would put, so many of you thought that was such a great idea, that I did promise that I would put together a list around the country. And I think it's really hard because, it made me realise, actually, talking to farmers, we are all really good, aren't we? Or at least we're getting better at social media and having our Instagram accounts and being quite vocal on social media. And you get a lot of kind of plant-based activists who are very vocal, and farmers aren't. And the reason for that is they're too flipping busy out there farming. And, social media is not their thing. I know very few farmers, actually, who are personally very, very active on social media. A few are, certainly the younger ones. But, the old guys, certainly around here, they're lucky if they've got email, frankly. And they're not going to be posting about their amazing new ways of helping feed the nation. So they're too busy doing and not posting. So I think that's kind of unfair, and I think it's really important that all of us who've got access to social media and can actually be, hopefully, a change, a voice for good, can shine a spotlight on when people are getting it right. And I just love the fact that we are connecting more with our farmers and growers. I think we've realised as a nation that we need our own food security, and we've got to support these local, very often small, family-run farms who are working day in, day out. They're not furloughed, there's no restriction, they just have to carry on doing what they're doing because animals still need feeding and crops still grow and need harvesting. You can't just switch it off, and nor would we want them to, because otherwise what are we going to eat? If we can't import stuff and we can't process stuff, where's the natural goodness going to come from? So, I'm obviously, I live in a farming rural community, so I'm very pro, and I see so much of the difficulties that goes on with really hard-working farming families who struggle. And actually, another reason why many of them aren't on social media is they haven't even got any flipping broadband. So, it's really hard. There are pros and cons as to where you live, and actually that was something that was brought home to me recently. We did a piece for the Liz Earle Wellbeing website, which I don't know whether you've seen yet, but it was quite an interesting piece because we connected the key members in my team. We're just a small team here at Liz Earle Wellbeing. And we're all in lockdown. We're all, had to go home, work from home. And it all affected us in different ways because we're all different ages. Some of us are in our 50s like me. Some are much younger. We've got, our youngest is, I don't know how old she is, early 20s, relative recent graduate. And some are single, some have got families, and everyone's experience is very different. And we all wrote about different things, about how this whole experience of the last few weeks had affected us. So do go on and have a look. It gives a little bit of an insight, actually, into who we are and how we live. And my point was, yes, I'm really fortunate. I live on a farm. I'm in the middle of the countryside. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I could be out all day if I wanted to, working in the fields. And very often, if I'm out feeding my chickens or whatever, then that is literally what I am. I'm having to do that. But the downside is that we are quite remote, and a lot of people are very remote, and loneliness is a real issue. We can't, if we go out and clap for carers on a Thursday, we're just clapping to the wind because nobody is near us. We can't go and have a chat with our fellow neighbour over the garden fence at a safe distance even because there isn't anybody there. And our broadband is terrible. Our Wi-Fi is just shocking. We have no public transport. I have to go to miles to get a prescription from a chemist and queue for hours and hours because there is only one chemist for miles around. So, I'm not saying poor me. I'm just saying that life is very different in different parts of the country. And then other people will say, yes, but I'm living in a very urban environment, and I wish I could see some green spaces. I can't go out, and certainly up until now I was restricted in the amount of time I could spend out in the parks and all of that. So anyway, it's just an interesting discussion, isn't it? And I think we are all in very different situations, and I know that a lot of you guys, you're not even in the UK. You're in different parts of the world, and it's lovely. If you're overseas, let me know. Send me a little note as to where you come from, because I know I've had listeners and viewers from Australia and from Cyprus and from America and from Kenya and Italy and Spain and all over. So it's lovely to connect. It's great that we're all kind of connecting and bonding together, and let's think of kind of how we can work forward with that. Anyway, gosh, that was a really long piece that I hadn't actually anticipated saying. That was really all about milk and vending machines, and we are getting together all the information. So I think so far we've tracked down about 100 different milk vending machines from farmers. So basically they milk the cows, they pasteurise it on site, they pop it in the machine, you go along with your glass bottle, fill it up, and Bob's your uncle. So no plastic, really fresh, and supporting farmers. And it's usually from grass-fed cows that are out grazing most of the year, and it's good quality stuff. So as soon as we've got that information, we are working on it. And I think one of the things that slowed us up, actually, to be honest, is that we redid our website last week. So if you haven't... Oh, hi, somebody from France, Alexandra. Hi there. Wow, Prince Edward Island. I did not know of such a place in Canada. Hi, Kath. Lovely to have you with me. Wow, going global. Isn't that fun? So, yeah, I forgot what I was going to say now. What was I saying? Was I saying about milk vending machines? Anyway, I'm sure there are lots, and we will pass them on to you. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there completely. I was too excited about being watched in Canada. Okay, so Alison has just messaged me on Facebook here to say recommendations on foundations, please. That is coming this afternoon. I'm really hoping, fingers crossed, that we're going to get that up and live. Oh, that's what I was saying. I moved on from vending machines. I was talking about our new website. Yeah, so if you haven't had a look, please go and have a look. Not now, but in a bit. LizarWellbeing.com, and it's really beautiful. It's got lots of content. I can probably show you, maybe on my iPad. It's not radically different, but it's just much easier to find your way around. And it's got an awful lot on there. Whoops. Can I do that? Will it scroll? No, it's not going to want to scroll. I think you have to kind of do it. Anyway, lots and lots and lots of stuff. There's also, by the way, a great free competition. If you haven't entered this, I will find this and show you, because I think it's something that everybody would just love to win. I would love to win it, and I know all my friends are entering it. So this is with our friends at the Real Flower Company, which is another great British farm initiative. And it is Roseby Morton, and she and her farming family took over a family farm near Petersfield. And they started to farm flowers. So rather than importing all the flowers from overseas, they grow British varieties, and they supply beautiful bouquets and baskets of flowers. And what I really love about them is they sell the old-fashioned scented varieties. You know, when you normally get roses, they don't smell anything, do they? Unlike lovely garden roses, which I've got here, or which you can buy from the Real Flower Company. And these are the old-fashioned varieties, and they don't last as long, unfortunately, but they do smell absolutely beautiful. And Roseby and her team, they put together bouquets with herbs and other things that smell really lovely. So especially now, you know, if you're wanting to send something to somebody and have it smell nice, not just look nice, but smell nice, then I think they are a really good idea. Anyway, you can win, if you enter this competition, all you have to do is enter. Whoops, nothing else. It's not complicated at all. You can win a year's worth. Wow, imagine that. Having a delivery, I think it's every month for a year, worth over £1,000. So great, why not? Just enter it. You know, there's nothing to lose, really. Lots of stuff on here. I'm really enjoying, actually. Of course, I've got my easy banana bread recipe. Who hasn't made banana bread at the moment? I mean, if you're lucky enough to have flour. But I've also got flourless recipes. I'm just going to move my Instagram up because it seems to have got stuck. Hi. Hello, 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 everybody. Wow. People asking me about milk. Do I have whole milk, full fat milk? Yes, I do. I don't believe in semi-skim milk. I mean, milk is relatively low fat anyway. So, and I, as you know, am a big advocate for having high fat foods. Low sugar, low carb, but high fat, because that's what keeps your skin soft and it's good for your bones and all sorts. Anyway, I'm going to do a whole thing on fats another time because it's such a massive issue, and I think people are just so confused, aren't they? And there's so much vested interest, unfortunately. It's, I don't eat breakfast anymore, so I push out my intermittent fasting until my first mouthful of food is usually around 11ish. And I've had so many messages and comments from people saying, but, breakfast is the most important meal of the day and all of that. Well, these were slogans that were invented by Mr. Kellogg's when he first created his breakfast cereal to sell more breakfast cereal. So, we don't need to eat high sugar breakfast cereals and toast and jam and things first in the morning. We simply don't. And a lot of it's in our heads. When I first started to skip breakfast and not eat till later in the day, I got quite panicked and I thought, I don't know if I can do this because I'm going to be starving. And actually, when you think about it logically, of course you're not starving because you've gone to bed, hopefully with a full tummy because you've had a nice supper, and you've not done a huge amount overnight. And we won't go there, obviously. So you've just probably slept. And you wake up and, you can just crack on for a bit. So for me, it was that emotional and mental hurdle of actually, I don't really, really need to eat something. And as long as my brain knew that food was coming, I wasn't going to starve myself. But that window, and they call it this intermittent fasting period, of 12 to 14 to 16 hours, depending, you can kind of have a play around with it and see how it works for you, is also not only really good for, just things like weight loss and all of that, but what it's doing is it's resting our gut bacteria. And we know that there are certain bacteria in the gut that need that clean 12, 14-hour window to replenish and repopulate. And these are very often the gut bugs that help to keep us slim. So it's really interesting, actually, really fascinating. I've written a little bit about it in my e-guide. There's a download called A Stronger, Slimmer You. So if you fancy something for the week, if you're thinking, do you know what, I am now going to get to grips with my fitness. I actually got on the scales this morning. And it was a bit depressing because I put on another pound. So, I was talking about, I put on 5 pounds since we've been in lockdown. Well, flipping heck, it's gone up to 6 pounds. But I did speak to Michael earlier today because I was in doing a bit of FaceTime workout with him. And I said, come on, Michael, please tell me that some of this is my fat turning to muscle. And we know that muscle weighs heavier than fat. So, this is a good thing. And he said, well, you might have put on a little bit of muscle. And a couple of things that I've been doing, actually, that help build the muscle, which I'll share with you. If you want to get into running, then there's a really good feature on Liz Earle Wellbeing website, and it's called, the exact wording is, I wrote it down, it's called A Guide for Runners of All Ages and Stages. Okay, A Guide for Runners of All Ages and Stages. Well worth a little look at that. And I recommend a couple of things in there. So, these here, these are my trainers. These are the ones that I use, and they are ones that Michael Gary recommended for me. I put a link in the piece online. They're Adidas Ultra Boost. They've got, I think they're called Uncaged Mesh, something like that. Anyway, they're not the cheapest, but they have made a serious difference to me. I can run further and faster, and my knees are protected, and I just feel really well supported. And they seem to be lasting me quite a long time. I've had these probably for about 6 months, so I'm quite pleased with those. So I think those is worth investing if you're going to go running or even fast walking and look to kind of build up your endurance. It's really worth having a decent pair of shoes to do it in. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of living in trainers at the moment, trainers and slippers. I mean, I don't think I've put on a pair of heels for for at least 6 weeks. So, you can look at it as an investment in a different way. And the other thing which I wanted to share with you is this. This is a weight jacket, and I've started using this quite recently. Again, I put a link in this piece about it. I know Amy, thank you Amy, honey, you just popped that onto Facebook, but you'll find it on my Instagram, guys. We'll find it on the link tree. So if you click the little link in my bio, it's got blue type and it says link tree, and then there's a / something. If you click on that, it opens up a whole magic world of links and quick ways to find stuff that I talk about. So this is a 5 kilo weight jacket, and the reason I like it, and there are lots out there, and believe me, I've done quite a bit of research in finding the right ones, and the reason that I like this design is Some of them are like full jackets, and they're really uncomfortable. This is really, really easy. It's adjustable, and you just do it up like that. And you could wear this, if you wanted to, you could just wear it around the house. It sits quite neatly. It actually feels really comfortable to wear. So I have been working out with Michael, and he's been making me wear this. Now, you don't have to work out while you wear it. I find it quite a challenge to go running wearing this. So what I do now instead is I just wear it when I go out for a walk. So it's just giving me that extra bit of weight, literally. Of course, I'm carrying a bit of my own extra weight, but, this is real kind of targeted. And also, if you can do some exercises in that. So in my guide, A Stronger, Slimmer You, I do various things at home without using any kit, without using any equipment. It's things like push-ups and squats and lunges and tricep dips and step-ups. Those of you who've watched any of my stuff on YouTube that I do with Michael will see that I'm just doing really basic stuff that you can do with a chair at home. I mean, that's it. That's the only bit of equipment that you need is a chair. But of course, if you then want to increase your power and give your metabolism even more of a boost, and start to transform fat into muscle and start to sculpt and change your shape, adding in something like a weight jacket is a really easy, simple, useful piece of kit. And that one that I found that I linked to, I think it's about 30 quid. And you can get them that are a lot more expensive and that are bulkier, but actually I find this style really good. I'm going to get a black one actually because I think this pink one is just a little, I mean it's good, but I think I'm going to pass this on to somebody who quite wanted this one and swap it for a black one. But anyway, just wanted to share that with you because things like that are easy ways that we can build stuff into our daily routine, even if you just wear it in your house. You don't have to even go out and about. Even if you just wore it while you were walking up and down stairs, that is giving you a bit of a workout. So I am determined now. I am a woman on a mission. I am going to lose these 6 pounds that have just kind of crept on. And I think it's because I'm probably eating, what am I doing? I think I'm eating more in the evening. I tend to eat earlier now with the kids. So we all eat together, which is lovely. And that's, it's a really good thing. That's been a really good part of this whole process, is that we do as a family sit and eat together because we're not rushing out the door. We don't have any clubs to go to or meetings, or I'm not travelling, so we're all home together, and my uni students are home. So that's an unusual thing for us. But because the little one gets quite hungry, we tend to bring our supper time earlier, which means by about kind of 8-9 o'clock I'm thinking quite like a little snack now. And then the kids go out and go, oh, can we have some ice cream? And, and then the whole thing kind of snowballs. So anyway, I am going to really try and just be a bit more mindful of actually what I'm doing. Because as Michael says, when you're working out is great. And it's obviously really good for our health and our well-being. But it's only kind of 10% of weight loss. 90% is what's on our plate. So it's really, really important. And for me, what I think works best is to cut the sugars and the carbs and to go high fat, because that fills you up for longer. If you have eggs for brunch, then the chances are you're not going to get those sugar spikes. You're going to be able to carry on till later in the day. So avoiding the sugars, the peaks and the troughs that gives you is really helpful. So I've had a message from my friend Celia in Kenya. Hi, saying hello, Slim Jim. I'm not Slim Jim, honey. I wish I was, honestly. I'm wearing sort of loose clothing at the moment. In fact, I love this. This is something I should remind everybody about. This is from Asquith. And it's a yoga kind of loungewear, fitness wear brand that I really like, a British brand, and I've worn them for years. You will have probably seen it popping up on my Instagram for a long, long time. And we've got a great offer with them, which is still going, and you can get 20% off everything on their website, which is really good. This is bamboo. It's really soft, lovely, soft, sustainable fibre. And what I like about their outfits is they're kind of smart enough to wear during the day, especially if we're at home. But actually you can also work out in them. So, I could break off and do my 6 o'clock Pilates with Natalie, for example, and I wouldn't have to go and get changed because, I'm already wearing that. So let me just double check the code. It's Liz Loves 20 for Asquith. Asquith London is their email or website, and it's capitals Liz Loves 20, letter 20. to get that. So I have got a few questions here that have come in, which I'm going to carry on with. Oh, Mandy on Instagram says, I love that you wore your crown to get milk. Yeah, I know, that was a bit funny. Another from Instagram, brilliant idea about the dairy vending list. I don't think we have anything like that in the Republic of Ireland. I don't know. I'll ask, actually. What we managed to do was contact the manufacturers of the vending machines. So we'll ask them who they've supplied in the Republic of Ireland. Another comment here from Instagram saying, we have a brilliant milk vending machine just outside Salisbury from Nunton Farm Dairy. It's wonderful and delicious. Oh, this is nice. Also on Instagram, so loving your IGTV. You've introduced me to some wonderful products during the last few weeks. Solcombe Dairy, yes, for their lovely dairy discount. We're just seeing whether we can carry that on, actually, because they gave us a discount. I'm just going to contact them and see if we can carry on doing that. Asquith, absolutely. Aspiga, LBB, to name but a few, along with encouraging me to try out your recipes that sit on my bookshelf. Yes, if you've got your yearbook 1s and 2s, come on, dust them off. Time to get them out and cook and do all sorts of things. I've rediscovered them. You know, I'm often so busy thinking about the next thing, you know, the next issue of the magazine, the next piece of content for the website, that I tend to forget, actually, that there's just so much in those beautiful yearbooks 1 and 2. They're just absolutely classic. So thank you very much for saying that. This is from Jill on Facebook. Which sunblock for the face do you recommend? There's a whole feature on Liz Earle Wellbeing about my favourite sunblocks. So Amy, do you want to pop the link, honey, on there, and then Jill will be able to find that. And Melanie says, is shop-bought kefir as effective as homemade or good gut health, for good gut health? Yeah, I think the thing with kefir is it's a food, it's not a medicine, and it's not an exact science. So it's all about increasing the diversity of gut bugs. We don't know exactly, you know, which gut bugs are doing this. We're beginning to narrow it down. You know, we're beginning to know that Lactobacillus reuteri, for example, is helpful for anxiety and mood. We know that rhamnosus, which is one that I take, is very good for pelvic infections and UTIs, and something that is promoted often as a kind of a woman's health flora and bacteria. So we're beginning to kind of narrow down the sorts of types of things that different bacterial strains will help us with. But very often when you're eating a food, you know, like an artisan cheese, for example, or kefir or yogurt, you know, you don't know exactly what beneficial bacteria is in there. So if I buy kefir from a shop, I will deliberately buy every variety that is stocked. You know, I might buy Nourish, I might buy Beautiful, I might buy The Collective, I might buy, you know, Dalesford Organic, or, you know, wherever I am, I will buy a different variety, because the chances are they contain different groups of bugs. So I'm giving myself the best chance, and I'll often mix them. Like this morning, I had a bowl of yoghurt, actually, just before I started here. So about 11:30, I had some yoghurt and I chucked some kefir in, and I mixed it with a handful of oats and a grated apple and some sunflower seeds and some flaked almonds, and just mixed it all up. It was really good. And I had 2 different types of kefir in the fridge, and I just did a splash of each. So, you know, rather than just stick with one. And in answer to your question about homemade, it's hard to know, because, you know, we don't go around analysing unless you live with a lab technician who's able to analyse the different bacteria. I think, to be honest, they probably are as good. You may have more beneficial bugs in a homemade version. And interestingly, you will get different bugs depending on where in the world you are when you make it. So when I travel, I take sachets from a company called Nourish with me. Obviously, we're not doing that at the moment. But, you know, when we're back travelling, wherever I am, I make my own kefir. Because what happens is we're surrounded all the time by yeasts and fungi and things floating around in the atmosphere. That's just where they are. And for the most part, they're beneficial and they're not doing us any harm at all. And they are part of that process, that fermentation process of making kefir. So if I go to my family's house in Italy, for example, because I've got relations in Italy, and I make kefir over there, I'm going to be brewing up a whole different set of gut bugs than if I'm down here on my farm in the West Country making kefir. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. I've just seen the time, so my goodness, I'm going to have to fly. Just to remind you, a lot of you were asking about hand cream, and I mentioned this last week, and I hadn't really had a chance to use it. I've been using it for the last week or so, and it's Ishka. I mentioned them last week because they sent me this little thing, which is really cute. It's the spa in the box. I don't know whether you've seen that. And this is where you get a beautiful soy wax candle. It smells really heavenly. A little bath soap bag. You get a Hebridean sea salt scrub and also the invigorating body oil. And this comes from the Outer Hebrides, and it's a small family-run business using amazing seaweed that they hand gather from the Outer Hebrides from very, very pure waters out there with very little pollution, and the smell is delicious. And they gave us 15% off. Anybody who orders their first order, you get 15% off. I think you just have to use Liz Loves. Let me just check what. Yeah, exactly. Liz Loves. And if you go to ishga.com, ISHGA. Anyway, as part of this, they sent me their hand cream, which is also made with the seaweed. The picture of it there, you can see. Really lovely. It's kind of, I don't know what it's like. Is it a bladder rack? Maybe something like that. Anyway, it says here, the Hebrides has some of the cleanest waters in the world, and we hand harvest seaweed to produce 100% organic ingredients here for the skincare range. And what's interesting about seaweed is that it does have very soothing skincare properties. I like this because it comes in a glass pump. It's not in plastic, it's glass. And actually the smell is really good. It's kind of ozonic, uplifting, but really fresh. Makes you just feel cheerful. And the texture is really good. It doesn't have mineral oil in it. It glides really well onto the skin, and it leaves just a little bit of protection on the skin, so it leaves my skin feeling really soft and protected. And well done, guys, and thank you for sending it to me, because I do think it is a good one. What have we got in here? It's also got argan oil. Yeah, that's interesting. That's one of my favourites. And shea butter, and aloe, and then your seaweed extract. And also a little bit that we were talking about on Friday with Simon Lysett, pelargonium graveolens leaf oil, which for those of you who know your Latin names will know that Pelargonium graveolens is the pelargonium, the rose-scented pelargonium that we showed on Friday. And of course the oil comes from the leaf. It doesn't come from the flower. It comes from the little tiny oil sacs underneath. If you turn a geranium leaf or a pelargonium leaf over, you will see it's got little kind of hairy fuzzy bits and little oil sacs. If you looked at it under a magnifier, you'd see them, which is why if you squeeze the leaf or crush it, it releases the scent. So as you brush past the fields of pelargoniums, if you were walking through them, then they would release this amazing scent. And remember Simon's tip of, if you've got any geraniums or pelargoniums, is snipping off a few of the leaves and infusing them in hot water to make a really delicious pelargonium tea. Anyway, so this is good stuff. So I'm going to continue doing beauty testing and bringing you perhaps a spotlight on the things that I think are really good. But you can get, at the moment, 15% off by using that Liz Loves code on ishka.com. So that's it for today. I'll be back with you tomorrow, 12:30 till 1. Oh, a couple of things, just very, very quickly, actually, because we were talking about flower ranging. If you have got my yearbook one, which I've been sending out from here, I just wanted to share this with you, because in addition to making the rose crown, or the floral crown that I made earlier, I'd forgotten that years ago I actually made this, and this is a heart-shaped wreath. Isn't that so pretty? So beautiful. And you can buy these online. You can buy the wire, or you could bend it. You could probably make your own actually out of a coat hanger if you were feeling crafty. And then just gives you the instructions of how to make one of those wreaths, and you could have it as a table centre. You could hang it on your door if you wanted, which is rather lovely. And then, just simple things. Now that we're talking about roses, just look at that little collection of antique bottles, or little medicine bottles, or just, little bottles. I've got my bottles, my shot bottles actually, from the Healthy Juice Company. I don't know if any of you have been getting your healthy juice shots that I worked on with them as a collaboration. Well, that would be a really lovely way to reuse your little bottles as single bud vases. So I just wanted to share that with you as a bit of inspiration. Don't forget you can make your rosemary jam jars as well. So this is using a jam jar with double-sided tape, sellotape here, and you snip bits of rosemary, which you can either have in the garden or you can buy rosemary in supermarkets just like this, and then you use the jar as a vase. So that gives you a little step-by-step. I hope you can see that clearly. So that was that one. And then last but not least, this was from Yearbook 2. This was just a bit of fun, which I wanted to share while we were still talking about flowers and had them front of mind. And this is a pineapple vase. Look at that. So this is where you take your pineapple, you scoop out the delicious insides, obviously, and eat that. And then you use that with some really fun, brightly coloured flowers. So lots of fun, inventive ways. These are only available through lizarwellbeing.com. All the information's on the website. We've got lots of links to everything. I hope you enjoy. Please keep the questions coming. I'm going to try and get that makeup tutorial loaded this afternoon. Please be kind when you watch it. It is the first one I've ever done, and I do sit here with absolutely a completely naked face, which is, it's kind of, well, there it is. It is what it is. So you make of it what you will, and let me know if you like it. And if you want me to do more, then I'm really happy to. But probably tomorrow I'll be back in the kitchen. So send me comments, send me questions, and I will send you lots of love back in the meantime. Have a great day. God bless you. Bye.